Hello, welcome to Kendall's Corner, Volume 2. I wanted to explore a little more subtle and challenging aspects in our teaching and performance, and some fairly short and simple videos that I hope are going to be helpful and inspiring and interesting to musicians, teachers, and anybody who's interested in the physics and acoustics of this amazing craft that we do. So today I will first talk about tuning, because I know many of us at home who are trying to practice, or perhaps we're guardians or parents of our students and we're struggling to get them motivated to practice. At some point we're going to run into tuning and perhaps even broken strings that we need to adjust or refine. So let me describe that first. So a stringed instrument, which is what we'll be focusing on in these videos, is mainly held together with tension. And so what I mean is that the sides and the back and the front are glued, but ideally there's tension being placed on the bridge by the strings that is pushing down on the sound post. And that's what keeps the sound post upright and ready to vibrate. So anytime that we're messing with tuning, we have to be very careful because we're also messing with tension. So if you have to, say your string pops or something like that, it breaks. It happens to all of us, happens all the time, easy peasy. What you want to do though is make sure that you're not changing all of the strings at once in one moment, but I like to balance the tension on the bridge. So I might start with my G string, then go to my E, so I'm doing the outside strings first, and then I do the two middle ones. So something like that, so that you're balancing the tension on the bridge. And as you do any of the tuning, and especially changing of strings, you want to constantly be monitoring the bridge and making sure that it's not falling in this direction or this direction, but it's staying very perpendicular to the body of the instrument. The next thing that we should talk about is, we know our parts of our instrument, hopefully by now. So we have, in tuning, our pegs and our fine tuners. And for many of us professionals, we may only have one fine tuner, usually on the E string, right, for violinists. So when we're tuning, if we want to make big adjustments, we'll use the pegs, and if we want to make little adjustments, we use the fine tuners. I normally suggest that for those who are starting the tuning process, to have a parent or guardian guide them while they're using the pegs, because that can be a little more treacherous, whereas using a fine tuner, as long as we're doing it gently. What you will like to try to do is listen to a pitch. You can find a pitch, a drone, usually A, we might say A440, A441, A442. Now, typically in America, we use the 440 frequency. European orchestras often go 442, 443 sometimes, so higher, which means sharper. I love 441 myself, but these are very fine changes in that A. So as long as you're getting a nice A drone, whether it be 440 or 442, you can find that online. You can find that in an app. You can also find that in a tuning fork, which I have and I love. So you will hear that drone, and then you'll play your instrument in a nice warm mezzo forte sound. Right? You'll decide whether or not the sound that you're making is higher or lower than the sound of the drone that you're hearing, the pitch that you're hearing. If it's higher, that means that we're sharp and that we need to lower ourselves. If we are lower, that means that we're flat and we need to raise ourselves. So how do we do that? If we need to make a big adjustment, you will gently turn your pegs backwards towards the scroll. If you want to do a fine adjustment, and you want to make yourself sharper, you'll turn the fine tuner clockwise, so away from you, towards the E string, just a little bit. Now, if you want to be flatter, you'll twist the peg towards yourself, so coming down, and you'll turn the fine tuner to the left. So once again, big adjustments here, and then smaller fine adjustments here. Finally, what I want to say is all of this is kind of contingent upon the weaving of the proper weaving of the string inside the peg box or on the pegs. And what that means is that we want our strings to be turned so that they are over the peg, they are this way, not underneath. And that also the wrappings are right beside the wood of the peg box, and that helps the wrappings, the friction of that keep the string even more secure, so that normally we're not falling a lot. Now, if you are falling a lot, like say you set the peg and then it slips, which often happens in very cold weather, changes between the dry and the humid, what you'll want to do is, as you're tuning, just gently push the peg into the peg box. Again, when we are tuning and dealing with tension, we want to make sure that we are not doing anything too aggressive or too quick. The other thing that I wanted to share is about the straight bow. So we often talk about bowing with a straight bow, and what we really mean by that is we pull the bow so that it's parallel with the bridge. That's where you're constantly looking at when you're playing. And in order to do this, there's kind of a few motions that you have to coordinate, which may seem kind of subtle. So I'll demonstrate first. So you may have noticed a few things. You may have noticed me come up a little bit with my wrist. You may have noticed me come to my side here. You may have noticed me even raise or lower my elbow. We will be discussing all of that in terms of the bow change, but for this exercise, what you want to make sure is happening is that at least from the middle, and I would say from the balance point all the way to the tip, you have at least flat hair. And then you're actually bowing away from yourself. So if you look at me at this angle, you'll see that I am straight at the bridge. I'm parallel. But if you look at me this angle, what you'll notice is that my hand is actually going in front of my body. So it almost feels like I'm pushing away and coming back, pushing away and coming back. So not this. I open and close my forearm. I'm not using my shoulder, at least not right now. And then the other thing that really changed a lot for me was the understanding of my ring finger. So this is what some might say is your third finger or your fourth finger on your hand. That actually really helps pull in the bow versus push it out. You can do this by just keeping the bow flat for a second, pulling in with your fourth finger, and pushing out. So I might push out with my fourth finger so that it's extended towards the tip. And I might pull in with my fourth finger, or my ring finger, towards the frog as I'm coming in, and it keeps the bow and the frog closer to the body. So I hope that those kind of concepts help in your playing and practicing journeys that we are all on and always constantly improving and developing. So until next time, my name is Kendall Grady, and keep your tops up, keep your spirits bright, and I'll see you soon. Bye.